Finishing up our series on the perfumes of Elsa Schiaparelli. Last video we talked about her magnum opus Shocking, but today let's take a look at some of her incredible artist collaborations. First off, she had this bamboo bird cage constructed for her perfume shop, and so you would enter through there. And it's still around, and as of 2016, the brand was still using it for their runway fashion shows. So you enter through this cage, and here are some of the perfume bottles that you might have been greeted with. This is Snuff. It was her first perfume that she marketed specifically to men. She called a shade of brown that she used in her design Snuff, so that's where she got the name. Next up, we've got Sleeping, which was actually meant to be worn to bed. She said that it would transport you to celestial dreaming. And I love that the packaging comes with a little stuffer, so cute. I have a tiny little bottle of it, and you just unscrew the flame, and then it is a dabber. This perfume came a little bit later. It's called Succès Fou. I love the leaf design. I love the gold veining with the S. Beautiful. Here's what the actual bottle looked like. Also has a little bit of a leaf design. All right, so when the occupation of Paris happened, Schiaparelli moved back to the United States. She was still running her company just from afar. And during her time in the US, she volunteered as a nurse's aide. When the war was over, she returned to France, and the press made much about her triumphant return. And she called up her old friend Salvador Dali. And she commissioned him to create a perfume bottle for her that was supposed to be celebratory now that the war was over. It was called Le Roi Soleil, and just look at this magnificent bottle. It was inspired by the Sun King, Louis XIV, and you've also got a little bit of Botticelli's Venus in the packaging. Only 2,000 of these bottles were made, so it's extremely rare, and when they do come up for sale, they go for thousands of dollars. Schiap's good friend, Wallis Simpson, aka the Duchess of Windsor, received a bottle of Le Roi Soleil as a gift and said, and I'll just read this to you, "It really is the most beautiful bottle ever made, and the Roi Soleil is a very lasting and sweet gentleman. I cannot tell you how I appreciate your giving me such a handsome present, which has displaced the Duke's photograph on the coiffeuse." High praise. Now, in the time that she was gone during the war, the new look of Christian Dior as well as Balenciaga was all the rage, and unfortunately, Schiap's wild designs weren't really resonating with the public anymore. And in an attempt to revitalize things, she hired a man that you may have heard of, Hubert de Givenchy. He hired him as the creative director of Schiaparelli 4 years before he broke off and started his own brand. Schiap launched lines of eyewear and jewelry, and she also did costume design for the movie Moulin Rouge. But people just weren't into her high concept designs anymore, and austerity was the name of the game post-war. So she closed her business in 1954. Unfortunately, that was also the same year that her old rival Chanel got her company back. And you can go watch my series on Chanel in the playlist above if you're interested in more on that story. Schiap instead devoted her time to writing and publishing her autobiography. No shocker here, it was called Shocking Life, and after she published this book, she kind of retired from public life and moved to Tunisia where she had a house, and then she died in 1973. That's not the end of the story though. In 2013, the brand was revamped, and Schiaparelli has been dressing celebrities ever since. They've worked with Lady Gaga, Bella Hadid, and Michelle Yeoh. I hope you liked this series on Elsa Schiaparelli and her perfumes. If you missed any parts of this series, just check the playlist below, and you can check out all the rest of my perfume histories on my profile. And leave a comment, let me know what perfume histories you'd like to see next.